turning mistrust or skepticism, Mike, into an excuse not to vote is to mistake anarchism for activism, in my view. Not voting might seem like a convenient way to voice a protest, but actually it's still casting a vote, albeit one that can't bring about any positive change.
But what happens if you can't pick anybody to vote for, of all the people that's available?
My right not to vote, of course, it's part of my freedom in a liberal democracy, but it's a social responsibility to try as hard as I can to find something, some way forward. And I think the decision about who you vote for is partly about what kind of city or town you want to live in 5 years from now. How can I set that in motion with my vote? Obviously, these days we don't have a lot of real knowledge of our local MPs very often, but the question is, are they trying to move things in the direction we'd like to see on the issues we care about? And then there's the bigger question of what kind of country do I want to be living in 5 years from now? What are the biggest problems that have to be solved? Which of the parties appear on current appearances to have the policies and the capability to solve those problems? The trust issue is a huge one in this election. I understand that, but I feel that activism sees a clear vision of the preferred future and tries to find ways, even if it's hard to find them, to make that come about.
But there's still a struggle between the heart and the mind. You might want to vote for a minority party because, we're not going to name anybody, but because you like the policies that they stand for. But then you think, would that be a wasted vote? And then you decide that you'll have to put your vote into one of the bigger parties.
Yeah, I mean, there will be that, and there'll be some tactical voting too, as you mentioned earlier. There's studies all over the world that show when it comes to making any sort of decision, human beings tend to use a little bit of heart and mind. When it comes to elections, especially close elections, emotion plays a much bigger role than we might think, especially when people are confused about the policies on offer, or if we can't see a lot of difference between the various parties. So for many of us, I think, even unconsciously, there will be a falling back on emotions, driven either by a leader's personality or by party loyalty that's part of our local culture, or perhaps our past voting record, or even, in some cases, a culture that's inherited from our parents. And I think we have to remember that politicians play two roles here. They're supposed to solve problems. That's their number one vocation, if you like. But the second one, more indirectly, they support the kind of culture that shapes our nation. That is our sense of who we are.
Can I thank you very much indeed for taking time to speak to us, Mal? All the very best for the future.